am going to start my explanation part with the Government of India Act 1935. Children, the campaign had a significant effect on British attitudes towards Indian independence. The combined struggles of the Indian people bore fruit when the Government Act of 1935 was announced. According to this act, India would become a federation if 50% of Indian states decided to join it. However, the provisions with regard to the federation were not implemented. It introduced provisional autonomy. Ministers of the provisional governments were to be responsible to the legislature. The government announced elections to the provisional legislatures in 1937. Children, the Congress formed its ministers in 7 out of 11 provinces. Later, the Congress formed coalition government in 2 other provinces. Now, children, we will see the final phase of national movement. In that, we will study the Congress and world affairs, Second World War and the national movement, Quit India movement and Azad Hind Fauj. Now children, we will see the very first, the Congress and world affairs. The period between the 2 world wars, 1919 to 1939, saw the emergence of fascism in Italy and Nazism in Germany. The Congress condemned both their undemocratic and racist ideas. The Congress pledged to support the British in the event of a war against fascism, provided India was first granted independence. Children, the Second World War broke out in 1939. Many Congress leaders offered to support the British war effort in return for independence after the war. When it became clear that the British would not agree to this, the Congress ministers resigned in protest and a political agitation was launched all over the country. In October 1940, Mahatma Gandhi launched individual satyagrahas and Vinoba Bhave became the first person to participate. Within a short period, about 25,000 satyagrahis were imprisoned. Quit India movement. Children, it was a civil disobedience movement launched in India in August 1942 in response to Gandhi's call for immediate independence. Children, the All India Congress Committee proclaimed a mass protest demanding what Gandhiji called an orderly British withdrawal from India. The call for determined but passive resistance appears in his call to do or die, issued on 9th August. Children, on 9th August 1942, Gandhiji and all other members of the Congress Working Committee were arrested. By the end of 1943, over 90,000 people had been arrested and around 1,000 were killed in police firing. Children, the Quit India movement demonstrated the depth of nationalism feeling in the country, the capacity for struggle and sense of sacrifice among the Indian people. It was now clear that the transfer of power to an independent India was around the corner. Azad Hind Fauj. Children, one of the most dynamic leaders of the Indian freedom struggle, Subhash Chandra Bose, joined the Indian National Congress in 1921 but quit over ideological differences with Gandhiji and formed his own party in 1939. Children, when the Second World War broke out, the British kept him under house arrest, considering him as a dangerous revolutionary. Children, in 1941, Subhash Chandra Bose escaped from India and reached Tokyo. In Tokyo, he became the leader of Indian National Army and gave the slogan of Delhi Chalo and the salutation of Jai Hind, which became the source of inspiration to the Azad Hind Fauj or the Indian National Army. The Indian National Army joined the Japanese forces and advanced towards India versus Burma. They planted the Indian flag at Morang in Manipur. However, the defeat of Japan in the Second World War in 1945 forced the Indian National Army to abandon its plan.